Ahoy hoy and welcome back to ECTV again. We've got a little bit of a different one for you. A shamelessly ripped off challenge actually, which is using all 5 tyre compounds in a race versus 0% AI and see if we can beat them. So this has been ripped off from TMX Marduk's channel. I'm not going to lie or pretend it's my own original idea. It's absolutely not. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick ourselves a good team because we're going to need a relatively quick car. And then we're also going to pick Alex Albon because he's had some blinding recovery drives recently. And that exactly what this is going to be. This is going to be the mother of all recovery drives. We're going to do this around Brazil. 1, because I like the track. 2, because I like the track, versus 0% AI on a 25% race. So we've got the opportunity for all the pit stops. We can use all the top 5 tyre compounds, and also the AI will do a pit stop as well, which, brutal honesty, I'm not that good at this game, and it'll give me half an opportunity. You can see the rest of the settings on screen. We're making sure it's a nice, clear, dry day. Let's see how we get on. I think it's going to be a hard one, to be honest. So here we are on the grid. Let's get straight into the race. Let's give this a go. This is not my first attempt, I won't lie, again. And we're starting on the hard tyres, so basically what we need to do on this first lap is gap as much as we can, build as much of a gap as we can. Got Verstappen in second place, just been overtaken by Hamilton. Now he's into second. And the challenge for me on this first lap is just get myself as far ahead as possible, because the more, and the other thing as well is I'm not used to F1 games. This is the first F1 game I've had since 2012. So using the little MFD menus and stuff like that, I'm really not used to, and I really struggled with it. I'm sure over time I'll get better. But building as much of a gap as we can on the hard tyres. I think we're the only ones starting on the hard tyres, but you know, it is 0% AI, so unless I'm beyond terrible, which thankfully I'm just about not, shouldn't be too bad. Building this gap up as much as we can because we've got basically a bunch of extra pit stops versus everybody else, and we're going to be more than a lap down. Oh, and we've already made a bit of a mistake there, and another mistake there as well. So this is just saying it's a decent start, but actually, not so sure about that myself. So on to the start-finish straight now, well, which is obviously very much not straight. I'm going to pit this lap and we're going to jump ourselves onto the intermediate tyres because I'm going to try and get the... Oh, as we almost hit the barrier. I'm going to try and get all the slowest tyre compounds out of the way first. So we've obviously started on the hards because we need to build ourselves a gap. Also, the game doesn't let you start on a wet set of tyres if it's not a wet race, but obviously it will let you pick them. So, right, intermediates. This is going to be difficult. Braking distances is going to be horrible. Traction is going to be horrible, so exit the pit lane then as carefully as we can, and yeah, just saying, do you want slicks? Probably now would be a good idea for slicks. That was from a previous attempt. This is actually now back in my current attempt as we just clip the barrier there. I mean, that's my own concentration and not turning quite enough. And now we need to try and get ourselves onto the wet tyres for the next pit stop because, again, we're getting all the worst tyre compounds out the way first. And what I will say is, Jeff's trying to give us a new strategy. Yes, Jeff, I get it, but you didn't listen to me in the briefing room, did you? I said I'm going for every set of tyres. So we're locking the brakes up quite a lot and having to be super tentative on not only the throttle but also turning as well, because the car just wants to turn round on you. The back end just wants to swap on you, even off throttle. As we get a little bit of a snap on there. Every time I'm going anywhere near, we're really, really slow and tentative around there because the turning is just shocking.
Use your overtake
but
button more. It's
yes,
time to utilize some of this energy.
Yes, Jeff, I know, I know. So I've actively avoided using the overtake button so far because I didn't want to break too much traction. And I suppose even in higher gears, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, we've just hit it now just to use a little bit up because we shouldn't be breaking traction as we go almost off the track there on, you know, on a very gentle curve. We just started to use a little bit of the overtake button there just to try and get some straight line speed, I suppose, because we're having to be so careful at corners. So now we're onto the full wets, and this is going to be, I mean, I thought the inters were bad,
Go now.
but this is going to be something else, I reckon. And thinking back about how careful I was actually trying to be, I was just scared. Look, I mean, tiny bit of throttle. If you look at the little throttle trace, we're barely putting half throttle on when we were losing the back end then. and I just can't push out of the pit lane at all. Fortunately, when you're on completely on a straight and narrow, you're all right. It's not too bad. But look how early I'm having to brake to make sure I'm not going to lock up and go straight on, basically. We're doing turning, going super slow, and we're just not getting any front end bite. Fortunately, this is the last of the dreadful tyres that we're going to go on to, but I am now 32 seconds behind George Russell, who's the next last car. Massive lock up there. And I just can't get any turning at all. The front end is just pushing on and sliding wide. This was... okay, I mean, I can see my throttle trace was a little bit spiky there, and I was getting a little bit too much throttle on at times, but crazy that third gear and braking in third gear, still locking the tyres as well, despite not putting on full brake pressure. But I just can't get any purchase out of corners, and then by this point, I've done most of the lap and thinking to myself, I'm just going to make it. This wasn't my first attempt, like I said earlier as well. I think I had 2 before this, so this is very much third time lucky, trying to see if we can get this one across the line. And we're braking traction in 4th gear while barely putting any steering lock on. And now we're finally up into 5th and 6th, so we can actually push on. This is going to be an almighty lockup, I'm sure. Yeah, look at that. Almighty lockup on the way into the pits. And all the horrible tyres are now out of the way, thankfully. But we're 45 seconds behind George Russell now. Before we take our pit stop, that's just going to bleed away. We're going to be well over a minute behind the leaders. So now's the time to push, pretty much. Medium tyres. We're only going to do 1 lap on the medium tyres as well, because I'm thinking to myself, almost clipped the barrier again. I'm feeling under pressure here because I'm like, I don't want to have to keep redoing this, to be honest with you. You saw already what happened in a previous video with the intermediates on. I'm thinking to myself, I need to push because I need to try and win the race. But at the same time, if I push too hard, and you'll notice I don't really trouble some apexes sometimes, we'll skip a little bit head further into this lap, do a purple middle sector as we obviously should do, versus 0% AI, and I almost actually forgot to change the tyre compound, so I would have come in and had absolutely no idea what tyres they would have put me onto. Very, very nearly forgot about that, literally last second coming onto the start finish straight I remembered, and when I was just going to hope basically that they are going to change me to soft tyres. They should do, I would have thought, and yet they're sitting there ready with the soft tyres. So this is the point now. There's no more stops. Jeff already said there was no more stops about 3 stops ago, but legitimately now there's no more stops. Let's see how we can do. Oh, and we almost lose the back end because I'm like thinking to myself, I've lost 5 laps. Well, I'm on the 5th lap, so I've lost 4. Now it pretty much needs to be game on because I've got over a minute and 10 behind Nicholas Latifi, who's the next slowest car, or the next car in line to me. I don't actually know how many people have overtaken me in terms of lapping me of the leaders, and I'm just about to catch up with those guys now. So I can see 2 Ferraris and a Mercedes, but at this point I still don't know what positions they're in. The little pop-ups above their heads, above their cars, hasn't come up yet. So I'm not entirely sure, and I'm like, what kind of mountain level have I got to climb here? So it looks like Sebastian Vettel is in 5th position. So I need to unlap myself from the top 5, and then still go and try and overtake absolutely anyone. Dive bomb down the inside there because I'm thinking to myself, I've just got to get past these guys as fast as possible. If they get DRS, they've got faster cars in a straight line than I have. I've probably not got any chance of getting past them down this straight. So I had to get past Vettel. He's now dropped off the back. We're now up against Bottas and Leclerc. And I'm going to send it beyond all belief down into, that was a massively clean move as well. I'm not quite entirely sure what happened, but I think we lost a little bit of TV signal there. Need to speak to Sky Sports or FOM at least, whoever's doing the TV coverage. Skipping a little bit further ahead as we've now caught up on the back of our teammate, and I'm hoping that now my teammate is going to realise, you're on a different strategy. You're coming through. I'll just let you through, mate. Nope. He turns in, gives us a whack in the side. But we're past at least anyway, and now I've only got Lewis, who's in 1st at the moment, to try and get past. But that Mercedes is going to be an absolute rocket down the straight. Quite surprised to see Vettel and Leclerc still up in 3rd and 5th. I'm quite surprised that Codemasters haven't nerfed that. Look, now we're going side by side. We're up the inside of Lewis. We do get past him, but he's still completely alongside us. But we have got the inside coming up into the first corner, so as long as we can make it nice and clean, which we have, he then goes for the under and over, as I almost lose the back end, but it looks like we've just about got the job done, and as long as I can keep him out of our slipstream, we should be okay on this back straight, and we are. Looks like we are, even though he's got DRS, so we're clear. So as I was saying before, it's absolutely game on now. We're in clear air. I've got to make as much time up as I can. I'm going to skip through each lap now that nothing really happens, basically. 35 seconds behind, as Jeff just said. Coming up onto lap 10. Big lock up. Now lap 11. Now, people are starting to pit at this point. As you'll see, Raikkonen and Latifi are moving around. Latifi's just dropped behind us. We're just about to catch up to Gasly, which means Raikkonen's going to be behind us as well. So we've cleared a decent proportion of people there. I know it's only 2, but 2 is better than nothing. There'll be more pit stops to come. We go up the inside of Gasly as he turns in us. I know I probably should have put my car there. That was, I mean, Albon doing that kind of move is probably bringing him horrible flashbacks from him versus Lewis at Brazil the year before in 2019. We get ourselves past Kvyat, and now we've got Magnussen. We're going to send it up the inside of Magnussen into the final turn. We're clear and past him. He hopefully shouldn't challenge us in the Haas going down the start-finish straight. And in front of us is Carlos Sainz, who's quite far down the order, surprisingly, to be honest. I thought he'd be a little bit further up. Let's see if we can get him into the first turn. I'm not sure we're going to be able to. We're quite far back. No, we have to back out of that. We still get a little bit of a lock-up. I was putting a little bit too much brake pressure on at times in this race, but that's pure just absolutely going for it as much as I can. Are we going to take him around the outside? No, we're not. We're going to swing up to the inside. We've got DRS. He tries to cover us off. We're going to have to go to the outside because that McLaren's still pretty quick in a straight line, to be fair. We're quite careful and quite tentative going around the outside there to make sure that we don't get a whack off.
Max is in the pits. Max in the pits.
Sending it up the inside of Perez. Max is in the pits. Fortunately, we don't have any other pit stops now to make, so we're catching people hand over fist. This is excellent. But it was at this point, as I was catching up to Stroll, that I took a look up to my lap counter and I was like, oh, I'm not entirely sure how far the leaders are ahead. I didn't think to bring up the MFD option and have a look at how far the leaders were ahead, or get Jeff to tell me. But I'm having a little bit of a panic here, thinking, oh, am I going to make it? I'm not sure. I'm catching up to Ocon in 7th, but I've only got 5 laps left. It looks like a bit of a tall order, but we're past Ocon. That's okay, fine. We've just got to keep making the most of this clear air and making sure it's wide there, unfortunately, onto the curb. Make the most of the clear air and try and get past people not in these slow corners, which then holds us up. And unfortunately, the 0% AI takes some really odd lines, really strange lines at times. So, I mean, well, I suppose I say strange lines, they're probably just glued to the racing line, you know, will not deviate like robots. But it means that when I'm going for lunges, okay, 8.8 seconds to Vettel, but again, only the 4 laps remaining after this one to try and catch them up. So yeah, I mean, when I'm trying to send it and do lunges, it's not great, it's not ideal. Some of the lines that they take, because they are so glued to the racing line at times. So we've made some really good inroads into Vettel now. We're only 3 seconds behind him. Looks like he's got his teammate directly in front, so Bottas has cleared the 2 Ferraris, as you know, in real life he probably should, to be fair. And it's unlikely that I'm going to get these guys down the straight, so certainly not both of them. I'm on the back of Vettel, but he's surely going to have DRS now from Leclerc. He does. And even in his slipstream, I know he's got a bit of slipstream from Charles as well, but he's pulling out a little bit of a gap. But I'm going to go for an absolute dive bomb down the inside. He locks up, I lock up. He gives us a little bit of a nudge on the inside. And I'm having to be really careful to not run into the back of Leclerc, not to get any front wing damage. Even though I'll be honest, I did reduce the damage on this race. We're going side by side. He's on the hard tyres, as Vettel was as well, so we should have clear pace advantage, even on worn soft tyres. We dive up the inside and we get it done. Brilliant. Okay, so now we're on the back of Bottas. We've got Bottas, Verstappen and Hamilton to take. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself as well, this is now...
I think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
Okay, fine, Jeff. No worries. Don't you worry about me, mate. He tries to cover it off. We go for the inside anyway, and we just about get it done. There's no contact. Absolutely none. Brilliant move up the inside. despite the fact that he tried to come off, and I'm saying brilliant move. I appreciate 0% AI at this point as well. I totally get it. Skipping a little bit further ahead again. So Jeff, shut up. I saved as much fuel as I could in the early part of the race while I was doing. I didn't do any kind of high mixture. Oh, Verstappen gives us a little bit of a clip, to be honest with you. I saved as much of the rich fuel mixture as I could earlier on in the race, as well as a lot of my overtake button as well for battery. Just knowing that when I'm on the soft tyres, we're going to have to push as much as possible. I have to use as much rich mix as I can to try and catch these guys up. And now I can start to settle down a little bit because I've got 2 laps after this one to get this done, and we're on the back of Hamilton. It's been an Alex Albon level of recovery drive. We're on the back of Hamilton. We've got DRS. We're in his slipstream, and look at the power of the Mercedes. We just can't get it done. I think to myself, I'm not going to send it up the inside just in case he does a kind of weird turning or anything like that. We're going to hold it carefully around here as well. I don't need to panic at this point. I just need to get the move done at some point between this lap and next. We're going to go up the inside, or try to go up the inside. He covers us off. We're in DRS, and we're still not really gaining on the Mercedes, even in the slipstream. Again, we give him a nice wide berth, let him take it. There's no panic now at this point, and we give him a little bit of a nudge. Surprisingly, no front wing damage there. Really surprised at how slow he got on the power. And now we're starting to get a little bit messy because I'm a little bit out of sorts. Dive up the inside there, and I was like, let's just get past, let's get this done. We've got him cleared now. We've managed to do the challenge. Thank you to Mr. Tiamat Mod for giving us the idea. This was a good idea for a challenge and legitimately quite sweaty. Lap 18, end of. We've managed to pull out a 9-second gap on Hamilton and across the line, and we've done it.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing. Well done.
Cheers, Jeff. Even though you kept talking over me at points. And we smashed driver of the day, which is an interesting one considering, I suppose, if it assesses the whole race, we were over a lap down. But hey-ho, we'll take it.
All the stops today. What a great win.
You're right, Jet. You're right, Crofty. It was a great win.
Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I think that smart tyre management.
Smart tyre management.
Assisted in their victory today.
Brilliant.
That combination meant they got the absolute maximum.
And what race were you watching? What race were you watching, mate? Anyway, like and subscribe if you enjoy this sort of content. Got plenty of other Formula 1 and gaming content coming to the channel, as well as more F1 reviews, predictions and facts and topics around Formula 1 and other areas of motorsport as well. Really enjoying doing this sort of stuff. I hope you guys are enjoying coming along for the ride as well. Like and subscribe if you are, and I'll catch you in the next one.